Hey guys, welcome to the AMD Ryzen 7 deleting video. First of all, do not use this video as a tutorial. I strongly recommend not to delete your AMD chips. First of all AMD Ryzen CPUs are soldered. So it's not really recommended and also not really necessary to delete the chips because there is not conventional thermal paste underneath the IHS. So please do not try this at home because I want that you keep your chips alive. Before I did this video, I already tried to delete two other chips and both of them died. So as I said before, please do not try it at home. So this is the Ryzen 7 1700 Non-X. This is the one we will use today to try to do the first delete without killing the CPU. So the biggest problem is that there are a lot of components around the CPU die. So I assume those parts are resistors and caps. So we want to keep those chips on the PCB, obviously. So the first thing we have to do is use a razor blade and go around the IHS very carefully to remove the glue. And then we will put this CPU on this heat block. I designed this heat block to test CPU thermal paste and also CPU coolers. So I can check the temperature on this one, and then I have some heating elements in there. So I can heat up this block to around, well, the maximum is around 250 degrees. We will need around 170 degrees Celsius because the solder compound or solder, I don't know how you call it in English actually. Well, the solder preform is made out of indium, and indium should melt at around 157 degrees Celsius. We will lose a little bit of temperature because of the heat going from the heat block to the IHS itself. So I guess we will need around 170 degrees Celsius, which is still fine and will not kill the CPU. So yeah, by the way, I have my AMD 486 wafer next to me. It's one of my favorite collectibles. I thought I would put it here to celebrate the new AMD Ryzen CPUs. So let's start with deleting and first of all cut around the IHS. By the way, this is the normal AMD packaging. I just removed a few parts with the razor blade, and then it's very convenient to hold the CPU in your hands and cut around the IHS without bending any pins. So I just cut around the IHS a few times with a razor blade, and I hope it's enough and that the glue is now loose. I will now use those blades here, which are a little bit thicker, to put them under the IHS and hope that they will lift up the IHS a little bit and apply a little bit of pressure to move it upwards. And then we will put it on the heating element block and see if we can lift up the IHS once it gets hot. So it's really not that easy to hold the chip and put the blades underneath without bending the pins. I just noticed that I already bent two of the pins. By the way, before you post those cringe comments, he touched the pins. It really doesn't matter if you touch the pins of the CPU, and nothing happens if you touch those pins. So I think this should be fine. I will now put the CPU on the heating block and let's see what happens. So I just put the CPU on the block and I put some thermal paste between the IHS and the heating block, and I now fired up the block and it's slowly heating up from like 25 degrees. Should do like almost 1 degree per second, so it will take a little bit until the CPU is warm enough until we can see if the lid works or not. So I will be back in a few moments. So we're now in the region where it's getting interesting. We're now hitting 150 degrees Celsius, and in this region it will start to be interesting. The indium should melt in a bit, and then I'm really curious. Oh, I hear the crack. Oh, something happened. Yeah, it looks really, really good. I think this is the first chip which could be alive after delidding, so I'm extremely happy right now. Let's wait a little bit until the CPU is cooling down. Of course, I will do some shots later, like close-ups with the camera, and show it to you guys so you can see exactly how it looks like. Also, the IHS looks really good from underneath. You can see the gold plating underneath, which is necessary for the perfect wetting conditions of the indium. Otherwise, it would not stick perfectly to the surface. Looks really good. Really happy that it worked out. So should be, yeah, it's cold enough. So this is the Delidded Ryzen 7 CPU. Yeah, there are a lot of parts underneath it, and it looks like I did not damage a single one this time. So yeah, really, really happy that the Delid worked out. So this means that this method of delidding actually works. I'm going to test for you guys, obviously, if it's worth to do this. Maybe it's not even worth it. What seems to be really interesting is that you can see two soldered preformed parts. So apparently, yeah, you will see it in the close-up shots for sure. So you can see that there is a small line in between. So it seems like they used two small pads of indium solder. So what do we learn from this? So the cool thing is that AMD is soldered, obviously, so this is actually not really necessary. The question is it worth it to delete the chip and replace the thermal paste and maybe do even direct die cooling? I will do a separate video for this on the weekend with the 1800X. Then we will see if it's worth it or not. It could be really interesting because direct die cooling should be very simple on AMD, simply because they do not use an LGA socket and also because the PCB is very thick. So we do not really need a high pressure from the CPU block to push down the CPU. That's not really necessary. So direct die cooling could actually work out very well with those chips. I will of course keep you updated on that. Until that, stay tuned. Thanks for watching this video. Maybe give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below what you think of Ryzen, what you think of the delidding. Until then, see you.